This is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Hey, this is Governor Chris Christie from New Jersey. Good day, doctors.
Go! You're watching Dr. Politics.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It is January 24th. Winter is almost over. We're about to...
Can't go away fast enough for me. So
I know, we're going to hit 50 Sunday though. 50
Thank
degrees
God.
Sunday, they say.
I hate, not to interrupt you, but not to be a wimp, but for me, I could never live north of the Mason-Dixon line. And it's cold enough here in Virginia, so.
Yeah. And I get to go out to your neck of the woods tomorrow morning, actually, to look at some, basically take my car in for some regular service oil changes and stuff like that. But yeah, so it's been a hot week, a busy week last week. Don and I were at the watch party. Dave shirked coming out there, but I think we had about 55 people out there at the Stained Glass Pub, I think.
We had I wish I would have gone, but we had one in Fairfax, and then I was supposed to go to that. We had about the same. You said you had a 55. I think we had about the same.
Yeah. We had people from Illinois and Indiana who I did not even know who they were.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Good.
Posted people from Arizona who I did know they were.
All right, good.
Yeah. I mean, I walked, at first I get to the parking lot and I'm like, yikes, barely got a parking space in that tiny lot that the pub has. And I walked in and I'm like, I don't know most of these people. They're unfamiliar faces, but that's good to see.
Yeah. Yeah. It was the earliest watch party I've ever been to. Because, when you think of watch parties, obviously you're thinking prime time, whether it's a debate or an election.
Yeah.
So it was weird, but it was good. My only I was sitting with a group of people. This lady sat next to me. I didn't even know her, but she just wanted to constantly talk to me, and I was trying to listen to Trump speak. So I just tried to give her signals, but she kept talking. And then she kept asking, why aren't you married? You should be seeing someone. I'm just watching the debate.
Oh, I love it.
I finally shut her up with, well, do you know anyone? So that was fun.
Hey, was she a friend of your mom, Steve?
No, I just met her. I don't know where her husband was, middle-aged lady. And, you just talk to people and you just never know. But people will be very blunt sometimes with you. And they'll just give you their opinions.
She only had your best interest at heart. She must have liked you.
I guess. Well, I don't know. But it was a great speech. I had to honestly watch it later because there were so many cheers. And it was kind of hard to hear that I had to watch it later to get the full, all the things he said. The things that struck me, though, were there's only two genders. And he said that, the place erupted. And the other thing was, and I think this line will go down in history. Reagan had his line about in the present crisis, government isn't the solution to our problem, it is a problem. Remember Trump's line about the impossible. In America, that's what we do, the impossible. And I thought that was very good and very profound.
And it's very true. We went to the moon and back.
And the American Revolution. They all thought that was impossible. Yeah. And even having a republic and no king, they thought that's impossible. And defeating the Nazis. Remember all the defeatists, people thought you can't beat Nazi Germany. Why even trying? So doing the impossible is very American.
Yeah.
And we gotta.
I also like how he talked about the golden age, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's a
That's
very
good.
positive thing. It was an interesting speech because it's not Trump does not give a traditional inaugural speech. You know, and this one, Dwight, I gotta tell you, I thought, okay, now we gotta listen to Trump. Is this going to be, a relatively short speech, which it needs to be, or is this going to be one of Trump's rally speeches, which could go
Well,
off?
at CPAC, he went for 3 hours in
Yeah,
2019.
and so I'm worried, but I kind of figured in the back of my mind that on inauguration day they have a schedule to keep. They've got the lunch coming up, they've got a bunch of things, and he cannot just go off and do an hour and a half or whatever. He can't riff for that. He's got to stay kind of on target. So I thought he was pretty much on target. I mean, he hit the Biden-Harris administration pretty hard, and so it was a little campaigny and somewhat inaugural, kind of a mixture of a speech. Interesting.
But I tell you, what I thought was the most heinous thing was Joe Biden pardoning his family minutes before he is no longer
he didn't want
presidente.
He didn't want to take the heat for it, so he did it literally as he's going out the door. And Trump said he didn't find out about it until
how did he do that? Did he have a smartphone or something, or did he just have like an email like somebody wrote that went out that was time to go out at 11:59?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's obviously a pre-planned thing, and then they just kind of release that. It's kind of like those Friday document dumps. Yeah. It's just that
Jill Biden probably. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Doctor. In name only, Joe Biden probably did that.
My understanding is that it's even done on auto pen. I don't know if he actually signs it anymore.
Your former governor Terry McAuliffe, remember he was auto penning like everybody in the prison system before the 2016 election, was it?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he was pardoning, and he had an auto pen signing. It was like doing 30 pardons a minute or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
To let prisoners come and vote for Hillary,
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah,
but
yeah, I think that, and I wrote a column on this on Substack, that I think we should really consider getting away with preemptive pardons, where nobody's really been charged with anything. The problem with it is that if you do that, the preemptive pardon can stop an investigation. Because if you go out and I'm going to pardon these 10 people, well, some of them should be prosecuted, or there may be real cases there of illegality.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if we start doing stuff like that, right? The Jan 6th freedom-loving Americans who were put in jail, then you could have those challenged also.
Well, at least they were pardoned in the sense. What I'm saying is a preemptive pardon. I don't know what the person did wrong. There'll be a cloud over them.
It's like pardoning children. See, Dave, that's like when you pardon kids they're going to have a cookie before dinner. They're going to have that cookie. They're going to ruin their dinner. But you give them a pardon, you give them a pass on that. It's kind of like that. But here's the thing: it is really horrible. And here's the thing: Dr. Fauci, the January 6th committee, they all got pardons. If they did nothing wrong, why do they need a pardon? I mean, Fauci still says.
I agree. I don't know why you're passing out pardons to anybody unless they've been charged.
I mean, it was like he was passing those out like candy.
Yes.
Frankly, it's kind of like how I pass out pins at conventions. That's how frequently he was passing out those pardons.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it does put an air of like, what does he know that we don't know, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so Biden knew his family was collecting the money and they're trading on his name. I mean, I think it just sort of indicates.
And when Biden goes and he pardons, family, and he like Hunter back to January 2014, you're like, okay, it's one thing to pardon him for the recency of his things that he's admitted to and he's pled guilty to. But then to go back, and basically say, we're taking the last 10 years and, you can't touch them. And it's like, okay, something is radically wrong here, and all that. Would Trump really go after Liz Cheney? I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the top of his agenda, but I think that this is also where that Trump derangement syndrome. We're back with a 2.0 version.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is living in their heads rent free. They are so afraid that he's going to do things that Biden goes ahead and does this preemptive part. Nothing may have happened. Donald Trump may not have even was already going to bother with some of these people, but he got into their heads, and so Biden's and his allies are like, we better do this now.
Yeah.
And it makes him look bad. Look, was it Tim Kaine? When asked about the Trump pardons, he basically said, well, because Biden pardoned Hunter and all these other people, he says, he kind of opened the door, right? I mean, he gave Trump cover to go ahead and do that. If Trump wasn't going to plan to pardon the more serious offenders, the ones who had assaulted police, the ones who had pled guilty and were serving 18 to 20 years or whatever and things like that in prison, where he commuted sentences and things like this. He just opened the door. When I saw that Biden is, pardoned, Leonard Peltier, who had killed 2 FBI agents, I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. It's like, okay, I have a hard time with this whole thing. I tend to agree. It's like, if you assault a police officer, I don't think that you deserve a commutation or a pardon. But Biden opened the door. I mean, if he's going to basically do the same thing to Leonard Peltier, who killed 2 FBI agents, okay, now it's all open. It may not be right, but as he put it out there, and so Trump, he might have been planning to say, we'll take all the low offenders, they're going to get an easy pardon, and then when after Biden did all this nonsense, it's like, okay, well, we're just going to give everybody, we're going to pardon and commute everybody at this point.
And by the way, what's funny is, I don't know if you've seen local news, like the ABC affiliate here. Last night, they were so indignant. And the night before, they had the cops say, Trump doesn't back the cops, he backs the coup. I wonder how long it took them to come up with that. And they make here's a really good point. I don't know of any BLM rioter who has been in jail for the last 4 years. Yeah. I don't know any of the people that burned the church in front of the White House that are in jail. How did CNN cover all of this? They used techniques they used in the Middle East to riot control, having the helicopters come and tilt the blades that blows people down. It's like, and then the fake outrage from Dana Bash, and hooray, they're starting to round up illegals and sending them on planes back to the homeland, so to speak. And Dana Bash goes, she had Holman on, and she's going like, she goes, you're not going to send, illegals that haven't broken any, immigrants that haven't committed any crimes. And Tom Holman says, well, if they're here illegally, they're going back too if we catch them. Yeah. And I want to share a funny little post. There's an 800 number. It's from ICE, where you can report. You're able to report. You can report illegal aliens in your neighborhood, at your schools, at work, at church, at restaurants. There's nowhere to hide, and there's a nice little ICE link, ice.gov. But
is that a joke or is that real?
I don't know. Let's see. We'll find out in a second. Let's go to ice.gov.
I think it's a joke.
Yeah, I think it is. I can't even imagine that being real.
But ice.gov is a real site.
I don't mind it, but it just seems a little, I don't know. Well, for me.
But here's the thing. We need to put out wanted posters like that. Honestly, ICE should be raiding some of the high schools in Montgomery County and Prince George's County. I bet they'll pick up a few illegals there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think
more than you.
I think if you're going to do anything, I mean, starting with those that have committed crimes is the place to go. and you start you take the criminal element out of coming into the United States, and then you kind of work, you can work your way down and everything like this. You don't have to go after the kids in schools quite yet. Let's get the worst elements out first, and then work your way through that. You know, you're talking about these reports. There's so much media sympathy about the whole immigration issue, right? I was listening to an ABC podcast report, and they were talking about these people after the app got shut down, you know, and people were like, well, they were making the case, well, these people, you know, they don't know anybody in Mexico, you know, and they're afraid for their lives. The cartels have come in, and like, well, this is Mexico's problem as far as I'm concerned. You know, Mexico shouldn't let these people in to begin with, and then they come to the border and try to get over, and they think for whatever reason they deserve to come to the United States and get asylum here. It's not like that, and yet, you know, it's kind of break out the violins, right? These poor people are stuck in Mexico, and they don't know anybody, and their life is in danger potentially from the cartels. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for those people in that respect, because you're trying to come into my country illegally, in essence. Because how many people do we know? Yeah,
Don, this is from the AP, and you know, I'm glad Tom Holman is calling it what it is. These aren't migrants. These aren't immigrants. These are illegal aliens. And for all you kooky lefties who don't know anything, a green card is just a slang term for an alien registration card. You know, so they are illegal aliens. That's what the DOJ calls them. That is what, you know, and Joe Biden had 4 years to change that, but he didn't. You know, so think about that. But Joe Biden, an illegal alien, you know, basically, you know, Crimea River.
I mean, I think the governor of Massachusetts even has said, you know, she agrees with the policy, at least to the extent of going after the criminals. And so, because we've just seen, I mean, we just saw that the Laken-Riley Act passed, though there's some issues, I guess, apparently with that. But, you know, I mean, there's that young college student that was killed by an illegal immigrant. And so that's what, you know, basically elevates it to the level of that you need a law passed about these kinds of things. And it just kind of underscores the problems we have in this country. I don't know if did you guys know about the 70,000, you know, illegal immigrants that are in Houston? They're basically running their own city. Kind of.
Oh, really? I did not know about that one.
I was doing my thing on Wednesday, and somebody had popped in, and just outside of Houston, there's basically an encampment of like 70,000 people.
Wow.
And they've got their own like little police forces, stuff like this. And you know, my question was like, well, what about Governor Abbott? Because he's been pretty tough, but she said, you know, commenting back that he's been useless on this. I think part of it is just the whole thing about sometimes the way the laws are, they just don't have enough people to handle that.
You see how dictionary.com has basically taken the word illegal aliens and often disparaging and offensive. A foreigner who has entered and resides in a country unlawfully or without a country's authorization. That's not, you know.
Dwight, you. I mean, look, we've all been around long enough that we've been seeing this change in the language, the lexicon, in terms of, you know, the AP style book, you know, has, you know, they say you can't say this, you can't say that, right?
They're just a bunch of word burners.
Constantly, you know, we don't really talk about you know, global warming like that before. Now it's all climate change because it seems to be more effective. You know,
by the way, I think there's a lot of people this past week who says, hey, maybe let's try this global warming thing out a little bit when we have snow in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah.
We have snow in Southwest. Houston, Texas has 6 to 7 inches of snow on the ground.
Stunning.
I mean, I say
see people ice skating on Canal Street in New Orleans is like, Wow.
I tell you, we need to fire up all those factories and start putting, and everyone start using your hairspray so we can
Get us warmer.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
let me just.
there was an episode.
I want to ask one thing though. He's like, so how did we get to migrant from illegal alien to undocumented worker, right? To then migrant. Isn't that the way the language is kind of gone?
Yes.
I think I thought Carter, the second worst president in American history, or third, I thought he was the one that started the changing of the illegal to undocumented.
No, I think that was more under Clinton.
Because it's like, I think they tried to soften the language. When you say undocumented, you mean I didn't bother to follow your laws, so therefore I don't have a green card.
Right.
And they broke the law. By the way, according to
I don't have the proper papers. That's
right, meaning I came in illegally.
Right.
So,
exactly.
And by the way, according to the DOJ, that's a crime entering the country.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like they defend. But here's the thing. Okay, if I came into your house in the middle of the night, Don, and I hid out in your beautiful sunroom, and if I didn't do anything wrong, but in the morning I cleaned up and cleaned your house, would I not be a burglar in your house at this? These people, they're breaking an entry into our country. And
probably not anymore. At least now we got Trump. I mean, with Biden,
the border is shut down. It is so tight. I can't wait till we have the big celebration. We bring Canada as multi-provinces into the Union as states of the United States, and the Gulf of America is a thing. And
I like the Gulf of America. That's interesting. He mentioned that in the State of the Union. I was kind of surprised by that, and I am happy about. And I wondered if he was going to do this. Mount McKinley, returning it to Mount McKinley. I thought that's great.
I welcome the state of Greenland also, by the way.
Yeah.
It's cold. We could put data centers there.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep them cold.
Yeah. I thought with Mount McKinley, I thought a lot of people would cheer that on, but he got some backlash from that from people in Alaska. I'm like, but this is what it should be. I mean, what's the whole deal about Mount Denali or whatever?
McKinley was a great president too.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Obama was a fan of the GMC Denali trim levels, so that's why he named the mountain after the trim levels of the GMC.
You know what else? You know what else I'd like to see change? I think Trump could do it as commander in chief. Return to Fort Bragg. It's always Fort Bragg.
That's coming. That's coming. And
I would. It should be Fort Bragg. He was a great American general.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, now it's
didn't he say that he wanted to kind of do things like that?
Yes,
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, Fort Bragg is now Fort Moore, and they don't even light it up like they used to. Just a couple weeks ago, I drove through it twice.
Yeah.
When I was going down to Georgia from when I flew into Atlanta, right? And when I went to go to the airport to pick someone up, when I was down there, they used to light that interchange up. It was beautiful. They really let the stuff, come down. It's kind of like how, this cold in Maryland is because Westmore, the Democrats can't pay our gas bills in Maryland. That's why they turn the heat off on us, but it's just really a shame, like Fort Benning, Fort AP Hill, the place where we usually go to the Loves in Virginia, Don, when we're driving back up here.
Also known for being a big Boy Scout encampment.
That's right.
Yeah. And now Fort AP Hill is called something. I tell you, I used to go when I drive south or when I drive up. The last time I went, I couldn't find it because I was looking for Fort AP Hill. Now it's Fort something else.
That's ridiculous. You know what? In Richmond, AP Hill had a statue on Monument Avenue. He was buried there. Well, what happened is he was the last of the statues that the barbarians removed. Because it was delayed, because it was also
from Virginia, because I just know Fort AP Hill as the place you get cheap gas on your way down, right around King's Dominion.
So I'm looking this up, for some name changes that occurred in 2023. So this is where Trump wants to reverse this, including Fort Bragg. Fort Pickett became Fort Barfoot in Virginia. Fort Lee, Virginia became Fort Gregg Adams. Here's the one you mentioned. Fort AP Hill became Fort Walker. Fort Hood in Texas became Fort Cavazos. Fort Rucker, Alabama became Fort Novosel. Fort Polk, Louisiana became Fort Johnson. Fort Bragg became Fort Liberty. Fort Benning became Fort Moore, and Fort Gordon became Fort Eisenhower. So Trump has said that he wants to rename, at least he wants to rename Fort Bragg, and maybe he wants to do some of the other ones as well.
Oh, as he said that, I didn't know he ever said that. I just was speculating that.
No, but apparently he said that, but he said that on the campaign trail, and I think that that's something that'll be part of his agenda somewhere. You know?
And we have now Pete Hegseth as the defense secretary. I think it can happen now.
He got confirmed.
Yeah.
Great. Well,
well, they were voting tonight. Did they vote already?
I didn't.
Yeah, I just saw some stuff that he's been confirmed as the 60-something.
Because well, that must have mean McConnell voted with him and Tillis, because those were the two concerns. We lost Collins and Murkowski. He could only lose.
Yeah, I mean, losing Collins is that really? Oh, and full disclosure, I helped Collins become a United States senator. She still helps us with the majority in the Senate. Let's not forget that.
I don't bash her as much. Murkowski, though, that's different because that's
Murkowski. You know, it was funny. I ran into Murkowski at Goddard. She was, I guess, on the Space and Science Committee.
Yeah.
And they came out to check out the Hyperwall, which is basically a bunch of TV sets strung together, right? Mm. And I think that it was more than just the Hyperwall, but let's say, the Hyperwall, because that's the coolest thing there, anyways. Or maybe they came to be on NASA TV. That's also pretty cool. But she goes, "Hey, Dwight, how are you doing?" And I'm like, she goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I can ask you the same question of you. What are you doing here?"
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew that.
And by the way, she has a Ford Taurus. Her car is a Ford Taurus. Had Alaska plates. I saw that in the park. And I'm like, "Who's here from Alaska?" And then put two and two together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Collins and Murkowski were always going to be problematic. I think we always knew that in this. We just don't have Mitt Romney to join the triumvirate.
Or Larry Hogan.
Well, no, if we had Larry Hogan, we'd have the extra vote. We'd have an extra vote if you had Larry Hogan.
Yeah, he would not have voted for Pete. He probably would not have voted for Pete Hegseth, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, does Hegseth, the whole confirmation seem a little John Tower-ish, in that sense?
Yes.
John Tower went through a lot of stuff, but I think Hegseth, he came out of this a lot better than I expected to. I mean, if he wins confirmation, because I'm looking at the news, there's nothing online that I saw that said they said
that's
the vote.
What Matt Drudge says. Does anyone pay attention to Drudge anymore?
Who pays attention to Drudge?
Yeah, who?
I can vote for the Revolver, which is like the conservative version of Drudge.
Yeah.
Well, Drudge must have sold out to the lefties because he was a conservative. I remember.
He's a never Trumper.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drudge was an odd guy.
But you remember that? I mean, getting on the Drudge Report was a huge thing.
Yeah.
That was the big goal of a lot of organizations, is to get your story under, because he had such a vast audience.
Yeah.
Now the big thing is getting mentioned by the doctors on Dr. Politics.
That's right.
That's like the big thing.
We're almost as big as Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Well, you know what made Drudge famous, sort of, was the Lewinsky scandal. Because Drudge had the story. He got the story from Isikoff, I guess.
And by the way, I don't know if you guys have checked on YouTube how there's this millennial he's a Gen Z paid Democrat flack blogger, Harry Sisson. This is hilarious. Let me share this for a second. Whoops.
So where's the sound?
I didn't hear it. I can't read lips.
Okay, are you not here? Can you not hear it?
No sound.
I didn't hear any of it.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Let's try this again.
Yeah.
Audio, okay, about audio.
There are
Can you hear
more
it
than
now?
two.
Yep.
So what are the others?
Interpret as you will, but I think
no,
that
you tell
executive
me.
order is stupid.
Tell me, what are the others?
I'm telling. I've given you my answer.
What
It's
are the
at least
others?
two.
Baby.
You can interpret
Give
that
us
as you
another
will.
answer.
What are the other
You guys can run
genders?
wild with interpretations here. I'm
Harry.
telling you my answer is at
Harry.
least two.
This
That's
is
what
why I
I'm
hate
Harry.
TikTok babies.
Wait, Harry, when you say there are at least
Yeah.
two
asking. Be
genders,
quiet. Ted Cruz's buddy over here with the
Harry,
comb over needs to be quiet.
it's Piers talking
relax.
to you.
I know
I
there's
simply
two
want to know,
genders.
Harry, what you mean by at least two genders.
I'm saying at least two.
What does that mean?
At least there are. What do you? What's the? I'm not sure what you're confused
Does
about.
that
At
mean there are
least
more
two.
than two, or there are
There's
two?
at a minimum. There's at a minimum two.
This is exactly why the
This
Democrats
is it.
on
Yes.
these issues got
Yes.
Oh my God, you
themselves
guys are
why
into
we
such
so
want
much
losers.
difficulty
You guys are such
because they
losers.
literally
We
cannot
literally
explain
just
what they're
wanted
talking
that
about.
shit.
For a guy who sits in front of a camera nonstop posting to TikTok, he is remarkably terrible at being on camera. His insults.
Yeah, Harry's
I don't
just an
know the guy.
idiot.
Who is he? Who is he? I never saw him before.
He's a millennial vlogger. He basically got paid by the DNC to prop up Kamala Harris.
Oh, okay.
He's done a lot of stupid things. He's like their answer to what's his name? Nick Sandman. Their answer, yeah, Nick's. I think we got the better deal with Nick Sandman.
Well, you know where he got that line at least two. Biden was pressed.
Oh yeah, he did get that. He does say that in the. I didn't want to play the whole thing, but he does say that in the beginning. I'll give you what Joe Biden said. There's at least two.
Yeah, but when Biden said it, it was kind of it wasn't something you want to quote him on because it was that silly to say at least two. But this guy quotes it as if that's sort of profound or a good answer. Biden was pressed. I think it was a hidden camera, and this girl kept asking, "How many genders are there? How many genders?" And Biden, with kind of a look like, "Get away from me, kid! You're bothering me," said, "At least two," and that was that. So.
And it's Joe Biden, he's gone. There's a great feeling of, greatness. It's like we feel like things are good. Things are
I
going
think
the
it's
right
also
side.
well. There's also the feeling. Put aside ideology. There's the feeling, I think, among left and right, that you've got a president that's like full time now. We didn't have a full time president for 4 years. Now it's Trump is already
By the way,
involved.
I want to
in it.
show you something here. The most beautiful thing in the world. See this? It says No Fear Act, right? And this will take you to all the DEI stuff. But watch now. It's back. Okay, I guess they took out all the DEI stuff out of it. But until like earlier today, you got a 404 error.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it's not back. Hopefully the lefties have been driven away out of the bureaucracy.
Yeah, this is another great one. I love it when I see these things, when sites aren't resolving.
Well, it's good. He's on the move. He's fast. He's already probably done more in 3 days.
Well,
than Joe Biden did.
the little kerfuffle that happened at NIH yesterday. Before this happened, I think they started doing this around the 20th, before the 20th, in anticipation of the No Fear Act being, they started moving the people that were in the DEI roles to HR.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they got caught, and they're all on. They are all not working there anymore.
Well, you got to stay on the bureaucrats because a lot of times they'll find other ways to get the same thing done. They just might.
They're going to move this. They're going to move all this under not EEO, but they'll move it in. They'll move it into HR.
Well, this is what I mean. The college and universities are doing a lot of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
They've been, they've been dismantling their DEI programs, but they basically rename them in some cases.
Yeah.
They scale them back and they say, Well, now we're the kind of the office of equity or the office of belonging. We're not. So they get rid of the other terminology, but they still are doing some of the same things. So they don't lose their funding, or they find other ways of doing things. But there's a lot of them are still out there operating. But it's amazing the effect that I think that Trump has had on the DEI
Hey
movement.
Don, this is how our alma mater, the great, I'll say the great University of Maryland. This is what they've done. Voter registration. They put it into here. They took this out, Don, and for the purple line, so the purple line can be put through. Now they moved the M to over here.
Yeah, the purple line, which will not be ridden by many people.
And it's going to go from. Here's another thing about the purple line. Let me just get on my soapbox about why I hate the purple line. I once had to take University Boulevard all the way to Goddard. I thought my car was going to fall apart. That's how bad. I thought I was like in Beirut after the bombings, and all the streets have potholes and people driving like idiots, people jumping around, running into the streets. It's like I thought I was in. It was bad. It was very bad. And it's all. And I tell you, I feel like if the alignment was knocked out on my car, I feel like I should be able to send a bill to Angela Alsobrooks and Governor Westmore to pay for it, because it's their negligence that's done all this, and it's over budget too.
Yeah, well,
same
thing.
Not
That's part of Larry Hogan's legacy in Maryland, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, same thing in Virginia with the they keep expanding the metro with the Silver Line. I don't think they should have done that.
Aren't they? They're taking it all the way to Front Royal, I hear.
I hope not.
Which is going to turn Front Royal blue from the red city it is.
That's what destroyed Loudoun County. Because what happened is when you expand the metro, the left, they love to live near a metro stop. They just love metros and they love mass transit. So when you build it, as they say from Field of Dreams, they'll come, and you don't want that.
Yeah, very true. Very true at all. Let's see. Yeah, Jerry DeWolf says confirm. Oh, no, never mind. He says U.S. Senate confirmed Pete Hegseth tonight. Oh, as of tonight, he's the 29th Secretary of Defense. So Pete Hegseth has been, according to Jerry DeWolf's page, he has been confirmed.
It's interesting. I wrote on Substack that I didn't think he would make it through, and Don had alluded to the Tower precedent, because remember
John Tower,
Tower was charged
with Texas,
Well, Tower was charged with sort of the same thing, and Tower was a former senator. So I just assumed if the elite club wouldn't say yes to him, I didn't think Hegseth would.
It's funny. CNN, I don't know if they've got a cooling off period, I guess, so they can go cry in their rubber rooms or something like that, but nothing. CNN. Let's see what MSNBC. By the way, MSNBC, they're handing out pink slips there like they are at CNN.
Yeah.
By the way, has our friend John Acostas, has he decided to quit instead of taking the graveyard shift at CNN?
I don't know. I think he'll hang on, not to interrupt Don, but I just will say that I think he'll try to hang on, even though I think they're trying to fire him, but I think he probably loves to be on TV enough that he would do it.
Yeah, but it's an interesting thing to, once again, the Trump effect on this time around is very different than the first time around. And so a guy like Acosta, who was really a pain in the side and just an antagonist, they shift his show.
Hey Don, look how far down they buried this. When MSNBC, you got their big stories, I know some companies are refusing to comply with Trump's anti-DEI crusade. Yeah, good luck with that. Talks about TikTok. And then down here, not even mentioning.
Yeah, well, I mean, what you brought up though is just, in terms of the layoffs. I mean, CNN, NBC. These guys are suffering. I mean, and this is the post-Trump, or post-Biden world, or whatever you want to call it. This whole new era, has, I think, it's changed the landscape much more so than it did the last time. You go back to when Trump first got elected.
Oh, let me share one other thing that's really looking great is the fact that, and I saw this yesterday, and I honestly think this is a Webby award winning. Here, let me show you from the beginning. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to do this in incognito mode. Look at this. Look how cool this is. Oh, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Stop sharing. Oh, please. What do I need? Okay, hold on 1 second. Let's close this. Close this. Open up a new incognito window. Look how cool this is. And it's got sound.
Beautiful.
That's cool.
Look at that. And this is, I hope they get a Webby for this site. I really do. I want them to get a Webby for that. That is a beautiful site. It is probably the best White House website I've seen in years. It's just great. I think the little movie there, and it's, bravo to the White House staff that put that all together so fast. And good job on transition, and that's a great little movie video. I would love to actually just get that clip and run it, throw it out as a video at our next run that as a video on our screen on our club's club's website.
Well, what with the inauguration, what all stood out to you guys? Don mentioned a little bit about the speech, and so did you, Dwight. Was there any other things that highlighted that you thought? For me, I thought
I want to say the mood and atmosphere in the room.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Was probably the biggest thing, frankly.
I thought Hillary going was a surprise. I'm happy and kudos to her for going. I didn't think she would go. I understood Michelle wouldn't go, but
yeah, Laura Bush was there.
Clinton was there. I'm surprised either of the Clintons were there, so that was good.
Well, the Clintons probably went because they just wanted to be there.
I mean, I do think that the former presidents, feel that this is part of the protocols that they should attend, even though that Trump didn't come to Biden's.
Right.
That this is the way, win or lose, kind of whatever the situation is. Whether or not you agree with the who got elected, you show up. You're the former president of the United States. You support the next president, coming president. You know what it's like to be in that office and how grueling that is, and what a thankless job that can be. I felt that Trump was just being a little bit too childish and too bitter back then. I think he has changed a lot, and I think we see the landscape change. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad in some ways that they went ahead and went indoors.
Yeah,
I don't really know if it's all due to cold weather. Maybe there was some intel about security, and
that's the rumors I'm hearing.
Threats on the president. I mean, after all, people had taken a couple of shots at him, during the campaign. So
Yeah.
you have a much more controlled environment, and I think it was really good. And Melania, stunning again. I thought one of the funnier moments is that when he came out and he was going to kiss her, it really became an air kiss because I thought,
Yeah.
she's sitting there going like, "Don't you dare mess up my makeup," and you couldn't, and with that hat, you couldn't see,
Yeah.
right, what's going on there. So
You know who used to wear hats like that was Lady Di. There's a lot of shoe dogs wear, but that was probably a cover for Bloodshot Eyes.
Well, we've known from the first term that Melania is always very stylish. I think
Yes.
one of the things that we're seeing here in this administration already, anyways, is that they learned a lot of lessons from their first term, and then they also watched what Biden Harris did and capitalized on that, and they're looking at this chance as like, this is it. We've got these 4 years to kind of really do things, and he has nothing to lose. He's term limited, right? But they need to get the policies right and get things going, because if they do it right, then he sets up someone like Vance potentially to be the MAGA heir and maybe run the country for 8 more years after that. Can you see Can you see a 12-year run, in a row like that of MAGA policies?
We had that with Reaganomics. Unfortunately, George H.W. Bush decided to raise tax, and he decided to opt to govern the country.
That's a tough thing to do, but if we could, it'd be great. Because think about it: if you had another 4 years, we'd have the court, we'd have the Supreme Court for the rest of all of our lives, and maybe part of your grandchildren's lives.
I think the Democrats have not learned their lesson yet. I think they'll play. This is going to be their. Let me tell you, 2028 will be their Walter Mondale candidate, and then 32 will be their Michael Dukakis candidate. And if they don't wise up, they're going to go into 2036. Looking like they did in, just they did 4 years. Because I mean, the whole woke agenda. I don't know if you've seen AOC's gone to TikTok to cry out about how horrible, Trump's executive orders are about DEI. But I to quote a good friend of ours who's no longer with us, "Honey, get used to it." It's like it's going to happen, and
elections have consequences, right? I mean, to the winner go the spoils, and so we knew that Trump was going to reverse what he could of the Biden policies and do a whole lot more, and this administration, there's no more Omarosas, right? No more Scaramucci's. This administration is going to be, it's really got a lot of people in there who are going to carry out his policies. He's got that weird one where the head of the Consumer Protection Finance Board, whatever that thing is, that guy hasn't resigned, right? Chopra. And so
is that Dr. Deepak Chopra?
Yeah, no.
Is it? Huh?
No, he had a job in the Obama administration, the Deepak Chopra. I think he had something in Obama's administration.
Is that him?
No, it's a different Chopra. Is this DPSC?
His name is Rohit Chopra at CFPB. So,
well, same thing that the U.S. attorneys have it.
So the thing with him is that he's got one of those deals, right, where it's a 5-year term and his term's not up, so he doesn't have to resign. But everybody else has been resigning, with the change in administration, and he's trying to keep this job. It's like, here's the thing: it's like Trump, that whole thing does not actually.
By the way, he is Deepak Chopra's son. He's Deepak Chopra's son.
Oh wow!
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I just googled that. Yeah. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
Yeah, this is the Elizabeth Warren monster.
Ah, that's right.
You want to hear some? It's kind of funny. When I was in Albany, Georgia, attending my uncle's funeral, the funeral home guy was talking to my cousin and goes, "You guys got to be really happy. You got 2 of your own Indian. He was referring to Kash Patel and Vivek Ramaswamy, the next governor of the great state of Ohio. But I go, actually, there's actually 4 others too. Because I think he's got some.
I mean, even Usha Vance too.
Yeah,
right?
Usha Vance. He's got another Indian person. I think it's at HHS or someplace like that. I forget where. Maybe the Surgeon General or something like that, or the president's physician is also an Indian woman. But I tell you, Usha Vance, great lady. 2 of my favorite aunts are named Usha, by the way. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, I mean that whole the inauguration was a good event, and I think you can see, because we Dwight, you and I had friends that waited just a long time in line to get into the Cap One arena, for the rally, also for the watch party. The demand we knew was already far greater than the ability to get anybody into the to the Cap One arena. But I mean, like even Brigida, who I guess you can say what you want. I mean, she was disappointed, but she wasn't mad. I mean, they didn't seem to be angry. They just, they were just disappointed they couldn't get in.
Our friends from Arizona, John and his wife, they went out and they went there, I think around 10 in the morning, and they were like 4 miles back in the line. They asked me if we wanted to come, and I'm like, no, John, I don't want to stand out in the cold. I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm not heavy as I used to be, where the cold didn't bother me, but now the cold bothers me a lot.
Yeah, I think they went inside because of the cold. I don't think it was so much of the security reasons.
I'm actually hearing chatter. There was some chatter about some terrorists, and it's always better to be safe than sorry, frankly. And if we have to say it's cold and that's the reason we opt to move things indoors, that's fine. I mean,
well, remember
the most important thing is he is the president of the United States
course.
again.
Yeah.
But the last time we did this would have been the Reagan inaugural, and it was cold.
And I'll tell you this, knowing President Trump, I bet he does something big for all the people that couldn't get to the inaugural. They couldn't go outside to watch. I bet he does something around the 4th of July to kick off the sesquicentennial of the Constitution.
Yeah, but it's great we have him as president for the sesquicentennial.
Yes, we do. Can you imagine Joe Biden or Kamala being president for the sesquicentennial?
That'd be horrible.
I remember the Constitutional Convention. I was there.
What would be really great if for the event, the King of England comes to that event.
King Chucky?
Wouldn't that be great though? The king to celebrate it, sort of.
Actually, can we put him in a stockade? Can we put him like in a stockade or something like that, just for fun?
Yeah, that part is not going to happen.
Yeah. But if he does come, I want him to not come in a suit, come with his royal attire, the crown and the scepter and the cape.
The British are coming. The British are coming. Yeah, that'd be great.
And I want his guards to all be dressed like redcoats. Period accurate,
The redcoats, yeah.
But red is really a horrible color to have on the battlefield.
Oh, I know, yeah, it would stand
so much
out.
easier to see.
Yeah. I think they learned after that, though. I think that may have been when they stopped doing that. Stopped wearing the red after that war.
Yeah. That is true, yeah. But also, we're seeing peace break out everywhere. I think there's some movement on peace in Russia. There's talks about it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to go out on a limb. By Independence Day, the war in Ukraine will be over. By Independence Day.
I hope so. That would be a huge thing. That would be huge.
And hopefully it would be great if in 2026, we can usher in the state of Greenland and 7 provinces of Canada, bring them all in to the Union.
Well, would we want all of them? I can imagine Alberta and British Columbia, but you bring in Ontario or Quebec, and
yeah, you don't
want.
We
can give Quebec back to the French. We'll let the French set up an outpost there.
Yeah. McGrowan would like that. It would add to their power.
Yeah. I mean, remember they could not maintain Algeria and Morocco when they annexed us.
That's
being
right.
part of Greater France. It didn't work out well for them.
That's true. Yeah. So I don't know if the French could do it.
There's but yeah, I mean, I think all in all, the president's had a really good week. He's in California now, probably gonna get a bear hug from what's his name?
Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, if he shows, I don't know. Do you think that'll happen? I mean, you think Newsom will greet him at the airport?
Oh, I think he will. Because, by the way, you know what's funny? President Trump said we're not going to do what the Democrats did. We're not going to not fund these people because they're Democrats.
I mean, on this one, I tend to disagree. I think that should be unconditional aid to any state because you don't want them to start playing politics and hold it up. However, I do think there should be recommendations for changes such as water issues, such as clearing underbrush. I think there's certainly commonsensical stuff that we can do to prevent it from happening again. But at the same time, you don't want to start politicizing aid to states for a disaster.
Politicizing. Yeah, here's the thing. Okay. As politicization goes,
because I mean, you could have a red state hurricane or a tornado.
Look,
and if you had a Democrat president, they'll say, "Well, it's global warming."
See, here's the thing, Dave. We don't do that sort of stuff. It's nice to think of. They accuse us of doing that, but we don't do that. I mean, look at all the money we poured into New Orleans after Katrina when that Halliburton weather machine,
Yeah, well, we had Bush's president. I know we had Bush's president, but
we did all that for them. We poured money into because remember there was another hurricane that hit because the Halliburton weather machine didn't get all the Democrats in New Orleans. They went to Houston. We fired off another one. They hit Houston. You would not, I kid. There is no Halliburton weather machine, but you would be surprised how many reasonably educated people think there was a Halliburton weather machine that did that to get all the Democrats in New Orleans that didn't vote for Bush.
Well, and not only that, to hit the black and minority areas harder.
Well, President Bush won New Orleans even without having to do that. But it's just one of those things, and here is a beautiful little picture. I'll share this, and it looks like it could be from the White House. Look at this. Promises made, promises kept.
Oh, good news. Yeah.
We are deporting people.
All right, we're into the final thoughts part. I think.
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, wow. It's already, look how time flies when you're having fun. It's a new day in America. It's morning again. People have more spring in their feet. Anyways, final thoughts, David, go.
Oh, well, I'm very happy. It all worked out okay. I was still a little nervous until I saw him get sworn in and until the day ended. So I think it's going to be great. Don mentioned, and he didn't mean to do this, but he had mentioned the phrase elections have consequences. Check out my book. Elections do have consequences. He's correct. And otherwise doing good. I'm hoping that this cold weather will pass. I'm looking forward to a warmer weekend. I just think it's I don't like the cold, so global warming for me sounds good. I got my vote. But otherwise, hopefully Trump, we got Hegseth in, it looks like. I think the most important position, and they're all important, but I think having Pam Bondi as AG will be great. And get Kash Patel in at the FBI. I think that'll really help. But otherwise, doing good. That's about it.
Well, if Democrats vote against Patel is just because they're racist. That's why they're not going to vote. That's what the Democrats would say, right? If you don't vote for Obama, you're a racist. Never mind that Obama's policies are crazy.
Oh, but one other last thing with the bishop.
Yes, the
Presbyterian Church. I have a character like her, but the thing I don't understand is why when you go to an Episcopal church, I just assume that these type of woke diatribes is what you get. And I guess Trump and Vance went because it's an old tradition. But I think that's the very same church that the lefties tried to burn down, and Trump showed up outside with a Bible to support the church.
No, that was at the National Cathedral, wasn't it?
I thought it was that same church. Maybe I'm wrong, but remember that case with they tried to burn down the church. I thought it was that very church. Well, Trump got that church, I think, criticized Trump. They criticized him for politicizing it. So
yes, they did.
Going there is, I guess
Well,
they just
the pastor's auditioned to be the new member on The View.
Yeah, maybe the woman bishop, but yeah. Anyway, I was not surprised, but otherwise, that's about it from me.
Don, final thoughts.
Yeah, so I want to go back to Susan's remark about how she and Brigida stood out there for a while. So thanks for doing that, just showing that your loyalty to the president. And as you said, it's got to be heartening to see that kind of a turnout. And I can only imagine what it would have been had they kept it outdoors.
Imagine if it was like 55, like it was 8 years ago. It was like 45, 50 degrees.
Well, when he got inaugurated the first time, it was kind of a cloudy, overcast day.
Yeah, but it was like 48.
I remember carrying an umbrella. I remember how many umbrellas were forgotten at security and all this kind of stuff. But it was just something to be there. So I think that it's unfortunate that people who wanted to participate couldn't, but it was probably the right decision. And for us, I was just as happy to be indoors with like-minded people. So I was perfectly happy with that. I agree with Dave about this weather. I want to see this stuff melt away. And
my neck's been killing me ever since it's been this cold.
Yeah,
it goes right to my neck.
It's winter. It's okay if it's 30 to 35 degrees, but these single-digit temperatures, please spare me. I can't take it. It's just really, really bad. I do want to just say it's kind of interesting how one of the other things that Trump's done too is that canceling the Secret Service protection for John Bolton, Mike Pompeo. Also, Fauci lost his security protection. Trump definitely holds a few grudges because I guess he said Bolton is a dumb guy and everything like this. But I mean,
Pompeo was very loyal to him. The
only thing that concerns me there is, there apparently have been credible threats from the Iranians, against their lives. So, I think they should at least keep a very close watch on that. And all that stuff. You don't want to make this some kind of retribution of some sort, and then open them up to having their lives at risk. That wouldn't be a good thing to happen at all. The other thing too is that the liberals going crazy over Elon doing his little kind of.
By the way, I was when that came up, Don. There's a picture of me at the Republican convention with my hands up like that too.
Well, the Anti-Defamation League even backed him up, initially. So right there, it's just.
And the left was like, "Well, he grew up in apartheid South Africa. They moved from Canada to South Africa because Canada was too free and open for them." I mean, stop making stuff up.
Yeah, it's absurd.
That he never lived in Canada.
Yeah. So
he says about right, and he says a boot like a he doesn't say boot, a boot. He says about.
A boot. Yeah.
And every other word is an A.
Yeah. So I'm also not so sure about Trump, the Trump and Melania meme coins. That seems to be a little bit kind of ridiculous, but if it doesn't violate any ethics laws in the long run, I get you do what you do. Trump has definitely become the crypto president at this point in time, and I'm going against the tide with Dwight from an earlier Facebook post, which is "Hail to the Redskins, man."
Yeah.
First time to the championship game since 1991. I never would have thunk it.
Well, get rid of Dan Snyder and
it wasn't Dan Snyder,
and get a quarterback who is just right now magical, unbelievable.
Yeah.
By the way, Dan Snyder did under him. They did go to the playoffs when Joe Gibbs was their head coach. They lost to the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had a few playoff games, but this is the championship game.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is running the gauntlet here to get
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
One step away from the Super Bowl. That is amazing. I mean, I don't expect them to beat the Eagles necessarily, because the Redskins' defense isn't that great, and Saquon Barkley is a lot of running back to handle.
Mhm.
But you never know. I mean, look, they beat the Lions. I mean, the Lions have been kind of beat up, but I mean, they rang up 45 points against the Lions. I mean, that was a shootout. That was unbelievable.
Mhm.
So,
The Eagles are going to be a little bit tougher, though. The Eagles will be a tougher team for them. They're not.
Oh yeah, by far. But I think they're the Redskins, as I'm going to call them. I mean, they've got some rhythm.
Well, Don, have you noticed they still have the Redskins mascot when they do the Commanders graphic? They still have the Redskins.
That's kind of that's resurfaced though, right? I mean, ever since Josh Harris took over the ownership, there's all of a sudden that whole mascot thing is kind of started to reappear, and everybody's like, "Oh, is there an official name change coming?" And then
I think there is.
Yeah,
if you remember,
they may be trolling us for now, but I'm okay.
but
I think if they win the Super Bowl, I don't think they're changing the name back to the Redskins though. If they win as the Commanders.
Yeah.
No, I tell you why.
I just can't call them Commanders.
No, it's a horrible
liberal Jack Kent Cooke owned the Redskins. This whole thing about it, is it racist? Is it this? Came up, and not one lefty had a problem with it. All of a sudden, you have a Republican that owns the team, Dan Snyder, you start going after them.
Well, Snyder had, he'd put his foot down that he was pretty adamant that he wasn't going to change the name.
Yeah.
But they, after all those investigations of the sexual.
Yeah, you see, they basically used lawfare against Dan Snyder, just like they did against President Trump. I think Dan Snyder should be given an appointment cabinet position, and then Trump.
I don't know about that, but I think you have a point there about in terms of the left really did kind of did a number on them. They wanted that name change, and they found a way to get it done. And even though there are large parts of the Indian community that was just perfectly fine with it. So anyway, back to you, Dwight.
Okay, Don, I'm gonna do you one better. You talked about the crypto coins. Let me show you something. Then everybody wants to get one of these.
Is there going to be a Dwight coin?
No, the Trump watch.
Oh yeah,
and
those are
I
cool.
might actually. This is actually a nice one. I might actually consider getting this one. But as it goes through, you can see that they've got. This is like the more affordable price point. But a lot of them are gold. See this one? Why buy a Rolex when you can just blow that kind of money on a Trump watch?
Hey, look, I mean, my Rolex basically sits in a drawer most of the time because it's
This is the watch of watches, the Ultra Mega Collector, $53.89. You can buy 2 Rolexes or 3 Tag Heuer watches for this price.
So who's behind? I mean, who gets the money for this?
The Trump organization.
Really?
Yeah, I think they've contracted. It's like the same people that brought you Trump water.
It's amazing though. I mean,
this is a nice looking watch. It's actually reasonable.
It's not bad. Yeah.
And this one is ugly.
Too rich for my blood.
See, I would actually get this one right here. Not this one. This is hideous. This one, but look at that. Yeah.
Well, the one this one here is what does it have his facsimile signature on these things? Is that what?
Yeah, the backside. I think they do.
Yeah, is that what that is?
Yep.
They
all have it. Yeah, this one. But look at this one. $389.
Yeah.
For
Is there a ladies' watch in there somewhere?
Oh, they do have ladies' watches too.
Mm-hmm.
This is their victory collection. Where
I'll have to ask my wife. Do you want a Trump ladies watch?
Yeah.
It's her birthday.
There you go.
today.
Here are the gals' watches.
Yeah.
Just don't give it to her for Valentine's Day. That won't go over
Look
well.
at this. They've already sold out on the the peach one, and by the way, and back. By the way, just a heads up, Trump watches are not a sponsor of our show yet. But if they'd like to sponsor, we'd be happy to push their watches even more. Also, another final thought is thank you, everyone, at the Stained Glass Pub. I know we said we don't have 15 to 20 people, and 55 people showed up. Thank you for working with us. You guys are great. You know, thank you very much. Everyone should go to the Stained Glass Pub right next to the Glenmont Metro Station, the best pizza in Montgomery County.
It's a nice pub.
It is. It's got great.
And the pizza is good.
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday is half price pizza night, and Wednesday is half price burger night. So
that's good.
they have something for everyone, you know. But good people, they have good food. They took care of you. You know, go there, say hey to Robbie and everyone over there. They take good care of us.
Man.
And my last final thoughts is, Maryland, you've had a choice for governor, and you chose Wes Moore. You didn't choose wisely. They're going to tax the trade-in value of your car. They are going to tax. They've raised emissions fees from $14 to $30. And I haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come, and they're going to start bringing back the Easy Pass fee, and there'll probably be something ridiculously high to make up for the 8 years of no fees. They'll be like, maybe, I don't know, you know, so I don't even want to give a number out because David Moon sometimes watches this, and I don't want him to get any ideas. But
wait a minute. So what's the deal about the tax on the trade-in?
yeah, basically when you trade in, you know, right now when you trade in a car, you just apply. Let's say they give you $45,000 for your car, and you're buying another car, right? You can just take that right now and apply it to the, you know, use it as a down payment, right? Now they take 6% of that $45,000, and that's what you can apply. It's not law yet, so if you're going to buy a car, do it now.
Yeah, this is, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's more, they have totally mismanaged what, you know, this whole state after, you know, Hogan left them with the surplus. And, you know, now we're all going to be paying for it, you know, and there's, it's always liberals, right? Tax.
Yeah.
And
Dave, what's the name of your book? Dave, what's the name of your book? Elections have consequences.
Well, that's right.
You know, we could have had, you know, woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know, but this is crazy. Oh, but I gotta show this to you.
I got the book.
Yeah, hold on one second. And these are the ones that are being released soon. These are coming soon, these Trump watches.
Well, I think Susan made a point, and I think a lot of people agree with her. She said she's keeping her Timex.
Is it still ticking? Because Timex can take a beating.
It takes a licking, but keeps on ticking.
Is that the one where they had a gorilla jumping on it? Was that the commercial they had for a gorilla, or was that American Tourister luggage with the gorilla?
That was like that, or
Samsonite.
Samsonite. Wasn't it Samsonite?
Yeah, Samsonite or American Tourister. I think now they're owned by the same company. So that's a big.
By the way, Dwight, you know, Trump, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the Spiro T. Agnew inspiration, because, you know, they had the Spiro T. Agnew watch, which I still have. And maybe Trump learned from him.
Well, maybe, you know, Richard.
You have a Spiro T. Agnew watch?
Yeah, remember the Spiro T. Agnew watch? I've got it.
Wow.
You know, they also have Nixon watches, Don.
It was a dig at him, I think. I don't think it was put out by him, but my father, who was into politics, bought a Spiro T. Agnew watch.
But look at this. Here, let me share this. They even have Nixon watches.
Wow.
And you can get them at Nordstrom's. Here you go. See this? Nixon watch.
Mm.
And let's see. How much is a Nixon watch? Is it...
How come I didn't know Susan was there?
She chimed in.
Susan was there. Yeah.
How come I didn't know that? I don't know. I was.
Hey, look at it. You get it watch for $125.
What makes it a Nixon watch? Not to drag this out any further, but what makes
It's a
Nixon?
brand.
I
It's a
know.
brand. It's a brand.
Does Susan make it into our group picture then? I hadn't even thought about that.
She's in the group picture. Remember, she funniest moment there. Chris getting up on the chair and everyone says, "Get on the bench," and he didn't even bother doing that. He just sat there taking pictures. I think he did 100 pictures.
I do want to say I like how you got Chris to be the photographer.
He doesn't like to be in the pictures. That's why I asked him to do it.
He was also first in line for the pizza.
Somebody has to be first. Somebody has to be first. Because you know what happens if nobody goes, everybody just sits around waiting. Well, who's going to go first? I don't want to be the one that's the first one to go. Why do I have to be? But anyways, we are really in the extra innings. 15 minutes into extra innings. Baseball season is starting soon, and the Shamrock Shake will be back February 5.
Well, if you keep the show going, the Shamrock Shake may come out by that time.
Yeah,
I know. Also, I know everybody talks about the Groundhog Day as telltale signs of spring is coming, but the Shamrock Shake is really the one. When they start bringing the Shamrock Shakes, spring's just around the corner.
Yeah.
Anyways, good night, everyone, and enjoy the Shamrock Shakes, because don't look for one on March 18th, because they'll be gone.
Yep.
So,
All
good
right.
night, everyone.
Good night.